What's up, everybody? Max Whitman here, you there. How's everybody doing today? It is Wednesday, I think. Is it Wednesday? Yes, it is. It's Wednesday, April 17th. Going to come at you today. We are in preparations for our greatest of all time tournament. What you're looking at right here is the bracket. The bracket has been released. Many of you have gotten your predictions in. We are still open for predictions here. We have not started the tournament yet. Head on over. It's challenge.com. That's challonge.com /BIB 200 subs. And we are still taking predictions for that. We have 19 predictions in, including mine. However, that mine does not count towards the prize. I'm not eligible to win for obvious reasons. We do have 18 total predictions in. That's 18 people vying for the grand prize of $50 to Amazon.com or the WWE shop, your choice, if you win this tournament. What I wanted to do today, go over the bracket, show you a little bracket tracker that I've been doing, and kind of just do a little analysis before we start posting. What I also want to do is outline just how this tournament is going to work. So here's what's going to happen. From the day we stop taking predictions, we'll be posting 2 matches a day, every day of the week, until the tournament is complete. Therefore, that means the first round alone will be 2 weeks. 2 weeks long for the first round alone. You'll get 2 matches every day of the week. Monday through Sunday, every day of the week, 2 matches will go up. We'll have full commentary on everything. It'll be a blast. It'll be a lot of fun. But you'll get content every day of the week. So check back with the channel every day of the week, Monday through Sunday. And we'll be getting all that content up every day. 2 matches a day. Some episodes will be longer than others for obvious reasons. When we make it to the semifinals here and the finals, we will hopefully, no promises, but hopefully be live streaming both the semifinals and the finals. So what we'll do is in one day we'll live stream the semifinals and the next day we'll live stream the finals. I think we may do it all in one day. Actually, it's probably likely that we do it all in one day. It's only 3 matches. But we'll figure that out when we get there, when we get a little closer. But most likely, live streaming the semifinals and the finals. Now, what I want to get into right now is I've been tracking, and I'll pull it up right here. So I've been tracking the predictions as they come in and tallying up total points to kind of decide the odds-on favorite amongst the voters, outside of the seedings that we did. Admittedly, the seedings, not perfect. Somebody like Daniel Bryan comes in at number 64. You probably should have been a little higher. That's because I jacked it up and I only put 62 guys in initially. Had to add Ultimate Warrior and Daniel Bryan. So I just added them at the bottom instead of reseeding the whole damn bracket. But what we'll see, what that has done for Hulk Hogan, is it has greatly reduced the amount of votes he's received for making it to the Sweet 16. By the way, the bracket will be working, the predictions, it'll be working on a point scale, so you'll get more points for predicting the winner correct than you will for predicting the earlier rounds correctly. So I think you get 1 round for the first round, 2 points for the second, I think it's 4 for the third, 6 for the eighth, something like that, along those lines. So it's not crazy, you don't have to pick the winner to win the bracket, but you definitely will get more points for choosing the correct winner than you will for choosing the correct other rounds. But it is a point system that will work in that way. So that being said, what we have here, we started to get into it just now. This is our tracker. Right now, Shawn Michaels leads the pack for Sweet 16 votes. Stone Cold, I believe, is the odds-on favorite, even though he's only been chosen once to win the tournament. He's at a total of 40 points. I think that's the most. It is. The closest behind him, Shawn Michaels at 38. And then you've got Ric Flair at 35 and Okada at 35 as well. Now, Stone Cold, 40 points based on his appearances. That's mostly because he leads the group in Final 4 votes at 9. He's been selected to the finals 3 times. Only 1 victory, though. On the other hand, Ric Flair has been chosen to win the whole thing 3 times. I believe that's the most of anybody. It is. So Ric Flair right now, the odds-on favorite to win the whole thing. But Austin seems to be the overall favorite. Hogan has 2 votes for a win. I think Okada has 2 votes for a win. And Punk has 2 votes for a win. Everything else is pretty much 1 vote for Roman Reigns, 1 for Samoa Joe, 1 for Daniel Bryan. But yeah, so this isn't quite available to the public. This is just kind of a thing that I'm kind of got. I could put it up, I suppose, as a shareable doc, but what's the point in doing that? This is more for my own fun thing here. Couple of surprises. Owen Hart selected to the semifinals the finals once. What are the other surprises here that I thought? Oh, John Cena. John Cena getting no love. Cena only selected 5 times to the Final 4, and I think that's because... to the Sweet 16. And I think that's because he's got to beat Roman Reigns to start, and... yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of people have Reigns winning, or then Tanahashi going over him, I think. But not a lot of love for John Cena. The other person not getting as much love as I expected him to get, I believe, was Andre. Yeah, Andre the Giant. And Rikidozan. Rikidozan, father of Puroresu. I really expected him to get a little more love from the Japanese crowd, from the New Japan fans, or the All Japan fans. But not much love for Rikidozan. We got Andre the Giant, though. Only 5 Sweet 16 votes. 4 to the Elite 8, 1 to the Final 4, nothing to the finals, and nothing to the winner. What I want to go over, though, and just kind of focus on in this little episode is a little bit of analysis on the Hogan versus Daniel Bryan dynamic and what that means for the tournament. Go over just kind of a couple of keys to victory for both men. And then we'll talk maybe a little bit. We'll take a look at Ric Flair's bracket, since Flair seems to be the favorite to win it. He's got the most. When we're looking at this bracket, Hogan versus Daniel Bryan, this was the one match that I really thought stood out as a extreme upset potential. This is the match that will throw people's brackets for a loop. And we saw it. You see, if you go back to them, you've got Hogan 11 times to the Sweet 16, Daniel Bryan 9. So pretty much split right down the middle so far on Hogan versus Bryan, who's going to win that match. And rightfully so. Daniel Bryan is a very, very strong 64 seed. Hogan a very strong 1 seed, though, obviously. If Hogan can get by Daniel Bryan, I do feel that his path to, at the very least, the Elite 8 is very easy. So if Hogan can beat Bryan, he's going to have either Gory Guerrero or Riki Choshu. I really honestly feel like Hogan can beat both of those guys. Hogan doesn't really pick up another difficult match after that. I think he'll beat... I think if he wins the first round, he'll definitely win the second round and earn his way into the Sweet 16. The same can be said for Daniel Bryan, though. I don't think Daniel Bryan will have a problem with Guerrero or Riki. Hogan could run into a little bit of problem here. You're going to have either Inoki, Antonio Inoki, Kota Ibushi, Bruno Sammartino, or Great Sasuke. If it's Sasuke or Ibushi, I think Hogan will be able to pull that off. If it's Inoki or Bruno, I think I think Hogan could have a little bit more problem with that. So it all depends on who wins these 2 matches here. If Inoki and Bruno both win their first round matches, and Hogan wins his first round match, then that spells trouble for Hogan in round 3. I truly believe that Hogan's going to win his round 2 match. I don't think he has any problem with Guerrero or Riki Choshu. I truly believe that if Hogan can win round 1, he's going to move on to round 3. Same for Daniel Bryan, though. Depending on who it is, I'd love to see Daniel Bryan versus Kota Ibushi in round 3, frankly. If I can be a fanboy, I voted for Hogan. I predicted Hogan. We can go over my prediction. I think they're open to the public. I think they're public viewable. If you click the predictions tab, I think you can see them all. I predicted Hogan winning, but I would love to see Bryan versus Ibushi, just the fanboy in me. That being said, I truly believe Hogan is going to go over Bryan, and then I believe he wins round 2 and goes to round 3. I believe Hogan could have a problem with Bruno or Inoki. I don't think he'll have a problem with Ibushi or Sasuke. So, depending on who wins these round ones, if it's Sasuke and Ibushi in round 2, then I would predict Hogan all the way to the Elite 8. I would predict Hogan to the Elite 8 if it's Sasuke and Ibushi. If it's Inoki and San Martino, or Inoki and Sasuke, I think Inoki will win that match. If Inoki or Bruno makes it to round 3, that puts a roadblock in Hogan's path. And I truly believe that could be one of the matches of the tournament would be Hogan versus Inoki or Hogan versus Bruno. Just from a historical fantasy booking perspective, Hogan versus Bruno would be I would love to see that match. Love to see it. But if Hogan makes it past that, then things get a little tougher for him. Then you're talking Triple H or Kurt Angle. Rikita-zan is in there. Harley Race, Eddie Guerrero. It gets a little bit tougher in that spot. But I do like Hogan's chances. I think as the number 1 seed, he does have an easier path to the title, an easier path to the finals. I would not be surprised to see Hogan. I'm actually surprised, just based on the bracket as a whole. I'm surprised that we're not seeing more Hogan in the final 4. I think Hogan versus Bryan in round 1 has caught up a lot of people, particularly the modern fan, and rightfully so, that think Bryan could pull off that upset and win that. I think it's hurt Hogan in the predictions. We'll have to see, but that would be my prediction for that. I really do see Hogan going over Bryan, and then after that having a pretty easy path at least to the 3rd round, depending on who his opponents are in the 3rd round, an easy path to the 4th. I want to take a look. Let's see. I want to take a look at Ric Flair. So let's go see Flair. Admittedly, I haven't seen much of Flair's bracket so far. Where is he? Here he is. So one of my favorite matches of the tournament so far that I'm really looking forward to seeing is Ric Flair versus Arn Anderson. I like the idea of the Horsemen going head-to-head, round 1, to battle it out. Flair did. I think most people have Flair going over there. Yeah, Flair's 16 into the Sweet 16. So I think only one bracket has Arn Anderson going over Flair. But Flair does have a much more difficult route to the finals, even though he's been chosen to win 3 times. If he can pull off the round 1 win, he gets either Giant Baba or Ricky Steamboat. I think he'll be okay against Giant Baba. I think when he goes against Baba, you're talking about a slower-moving opponent. I think Flair will be able to outsmart him, outmaneuver him. I don't think he'll have a huge problem with Giant Baba. Now, that size difference is tremendous. Flair's got to keep the match moving. He's got to keep moving, keep mobile, target the legs. Good news for Flair. You're talking about the master of the figure 4. Might not be an issue for him. But he's got to target those legs. If it's Steamboat, and I kind of hope it is, because I would love to see Flair versus Anderson in round 1, Flair versus Steamboat in round 2. This might actually be my favorite bracket here, the bottom bracket here. The bottom 16, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Yeah, the bottom 16. This might be my favorite bracket in the tournament. You've got some really solid matches here. Look at the possibilities. If Flair wins, you could get Flair Steamboat. You go down here, The Rock, odds-on favorite to beat Owen Hart. You could end up with The Rock versus Flair. You could end up with The Rock versus Steamboat. You could end up with Rock versus Nash. Owen Hart versus Mil Mascaras would be a great match. Moving down to the bracket then, hey, Cena versus Reigns. Best part about this first round matchup, one of these guys won't be here when it's over. To me, that's the best part. My biggest fear was, Jesus Christ, what if it's Cena Reigns in the finals? God, the internet smart crowd will go bonkers if it's Cena Reigns in the finals. So best part about Cena versus Reigns, you end up with one of them being eliminated after the first round. What I really like about this portion of the bracket right here, so we get Cena versus Reigns round 1, right? So we get Mr. Modern WWE, John Cena, versus the big dog, the future modern Mr. WWE, Roman Reigns, in round 1. Regardless of who wins that match, if Tanahashi can beat Misawa in round 1, you get the John Cena of New Japan versus possibly John Cena of WWE, which would be a fantastic second round match. I'd love to see that, right? Also in the bracket is arguably Tanahashi's biggest rival is Okada. So you could end up down here, if you're Hiroshi Tanahashi, you could beat Misawa, go on to have to beat, John Cena. If you're the ace of New Japan, you could end up beating the ace of WWE, and then moving on to face essentially the current ace of New Japan. And then if you win that match, you could end up facing The Rock or Ric Flair later on to get into the semifinals. Like, this is, to me, matches 25 through 32 in that first round. This is the bracket to watch. I love this bracket. I really, truly do. From a fantasy booking perspective, I think it's got the best grouping of fantasy matches, dream matches, that you could hope for. The bracket right now, truly, look at the names there. Flair, Anderson, Rock, Hart, Nash. It really, really worked out. I'm hoping we don't end up with a Kevin Nash, Giant Baba match, because I really can't imagine it's going to be all that entertaining. But the bracket one above, Austin's bracket, is also pretty solid. You get Austin Ultimate Warrior, Liger Goldberg, Jericho Kobashi, Rhodes Hall, Undertaker Perfect, and Foley Vader. You also get the dream match, Punk Savage, Mysterio versus Ultimo Dragon. Who doesn't want to see that? Realistically, Savage versus Punk, that's the match I'm most looking forward to. Just because I really think, you're talking about, Punk wearing the Randy Savage tribute trunks, and just, everything about that match screams fantasy dream booking, Mick Foley versus Vader, there's a long history there. Undertaker, Mr. Perfect. If you're Mick Foley, you get Foley Vader, long history there. If you win, you could end up Foley Undertaker, long history there. Really just a good bracket. I like the way the bracket's set up the whole way through. We could get Austin Goldberg, the fantasy bookers. Jesus, that's a 1998 wet dream. But ultimately, I honestly, I like the way the bracket's set up. I don't really know which direction it's going to go. But I will say that I do like Hulk Hogan's chances. I love HBK's chances. Triple H, Kurt Angle, I'm really looking forward to. But that's where I'm going. Hurricane Maxwell, everybody. Hurricane Maxwell is in the room. How you doing, Hurricane Maxwell? She's staring daggers at me right now. Hurricane Maxwell, what do you think? Who do you think? Who's going to win? Come here. Who's going to win? Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan? Who's going to win? She wants to run. Folks, that's my cue to get out of here. Hurricane Maxwell's in here. She wants to run around. She wants to be a hurricane. Time for Max Whitman to clock out and head on out of here. Folks, we're going to try and post one of these videos every day of the week leading into the tournament. If you haven't gotten those predictions in, get them in. I know you want that $50. I know you want it. Who doesn't? $50 to the WWE shop. That's enough to get you like half a John Cena hat. Folks, get on out of here. I will see you when I see you. Hopefully we'll get another one of these tomorrow. We'll pick another wrestler. We focused on Hogan today. Thinking next up we'll focus on Shawn Michaels and his path to the championship. We got a lot of matches in there that I'd love to go over and analyze. Probably going to do this for about a week. Keep those predictions coming. If we hit somewhere in the 25 predictions, we may start the tournament a little earlier than a week. But keep those predictions coming. Let's get them in there. Let's get as many as we can. I will see you when I see you. Super excited. Thank you, Hurricane Maxwell. She's handing me drums. Time for me to go. Folks, get on out of here. We will see you when I see you.